Hi guys, how's it going? John Kerry up there, but a little bit cloudy, and it looks west of us here like it's maybe a bit of a storm, but it's definitely west of here and not coming this direction. So anyway, I just thought I'd give you a little update, not on so much on what I'm doing with vehicles and everything else, but just general life stuff that's going on. Many of you know that in the last 8 months, my mom has had health problems. Been in the hospital every month this year, except August so far. And we had to move her out of her home, which she had lived in since 1966, so almost 50 years, 47 years. Into a supportive housing unit where they can help her. Now, her health is not going to get better. Right now it's really adversely affecting her mind, so she has moments where she's quite lucid, but not completely. In that she'll talk to people that aren't there. She'll see people and talk to them. But then when she has her bad moments, she can get upset about things that just aren't happening. She thinks that she's constantly babysitting a couple kids that people left behind where she's living. There are no kids there. She's in a little, they call it a cottage, has 12 rooms and a kitchen and living room area. Like a public area, a reading room, and they have activities and everything, but it's a secure building that she can't get out of. The other 11 tenants are kind of the same boat where they need to be safe. Maybe they have wandering risks or whatever, and the supportive housing comes that she can't do her medications herself. Can't remember, so it's all scheduled and everything. They take really good care of her, but she's not happy being there, and that's making it hard on us. And also, we're having to clean out her house, which she has lived in for 47 years. It's about 1,300 square feet. The basement is fully developed with a rec room, a bar, laundry room, my dad's workshop. There was a bedroom built in the back that my mom's been using as a craft room. But she's not wanting to let go of things. She's holding on to everything. And my sisters are not seeing eye to eye on that, so they've had words a few times that just makes everybody feel uncomfortable. And then they'll each take their turn to call me and vent about the other one. So, and I don't tell one what the other one says, because if I did, then they'd never talk to each other again, which is quite possible they'll end up that way anyways. We do have some movement on the house, in that Mom knows that stuff has to go, and we've agreed that there is going to be a date that she's got to be out of there. More of that in a minute. But my sister from Ottawa was here until Wednesday. She had driven here this time. She took it as a vacation, 3 or 4 day drive down through the States from Ottawa to Winnipeg. And taking pictures with her new digital camera. She's retired, so that's going to be a hobby of hers. But Well, she was here about 3 weeks, but Wednesday she left to go home, and she has a wedding today in Ottawa to attend the reception tonight. So she was, 3-day drive to Ottawa, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Without pushing, she was going to try and, get back today sometime early afternoon and then go to the wedding. So it wouldn't be pushing it for 3 days. You can do it in 3 days, no problem, but she wanted to stop and see a few sights as well. But to add stress to everything going on, she got about 85 kilometers east of where HPR lives, and on Thursday, I believe around supper time, and we don't have all the details yet because she's still traveling, but what happened was she hit the shoulder, or there was a shoulder drop off, and in trying to get the car back on the road, she lost control of it. And it was one of the areas where they have the rock face, or the rock cuts from where they blast to make the highways flat so they don't go up and over little hills and that. So apparently she hit 3 times. And her car's a 2006 Honda Civic 4-door with, I don't think it had 30,000 kilometers on it. So ultra low mileage, immaculate little car. It's only the 3rd car she's ever owned. And she basically pushed the front end up to the windshield. The back got crushed. The driver's side airbag went off. The side skirt airbag went off. The torso airbag that comes out of the driver's seat went off, and she broke the back off the driver's seat. And it's the first time she's been involved in anything major. But luckily there was a truck driver from Manitoba that stopped right away. There were also 4 or 5 other cars that stopped to help. The truck driver called 911. And 3 Ontario Provincial Police cars ended up there, plus the ambulance. They took her by ambulance to a nearby town, checked her out. She had a fairly big contusion apparently on her left arm, and a lot of scrapes and bumps and bruises, but nothing broken. Now, if she pushed the front of the car up to the windshield, a lot of cars, that would have been a fatality. So, we got to thank God for the car she bought. Happened to be one of the highly rated ones for collisions at the time. But it left her panicked, upset, and in the middle of nowhere, in a little town that had no bus service other than the bus depot for Greyhound, and no rental car places. And I think she said there was 1 taxi cab. Well, when she got out of the car, she thought the car was on fire from the talcum powder that comes out of the airbags, which stinks after because it kind of burns. So with that cloud of stuff, she thought the car was on fire and got out and started pulling stuff out of the car, and I guess other people helped her. Well, then she got into the ambulance, and the tow truck operator got there, and they were going to take her by ambulance to the hospital, and turns out there was nothing they could do with her stuff. So the tow truck driver put it all back in her car, towed her car to whatever impound yard, and she went to the hospital, got checked out for a few hours, and then they released her. when she was at the hospital, the nurse, in talking to her, found out everything going on and actually phoned the Ontario Provincial Police and basically said that, she's from out of town, she has all her stuff and nowhere to go, and there's nothing they can do. And so the OPP called the tow truck operator, who came in his own personal van, picked up my sister, because they weren't even, just released her from the hospital and in a strange town, and that's it. What do you do? So he picked her up at the hospital, drove her to where her car was, helped load all the stuff out of the car, because the car is going to be a write-off. He helped her empty all personal belongings out and everything. Drove her to a hotel. Once she was booked in, he hauled all the boxes into her room for her. Now, that's one hell of a lot of good. That is what you call customer service. You just don't find that anymore. So she was shook up pretty bad, and she's pretty sore. We haven't got all the details, and I haven't got pictures of her car yet. But she left yesterday. I think this town had one taxi. So she took that taxi to, I think, Sudbury. It was a $180 taxi ride, because it was cheaper than getting a bus ticket and paying for all the extra stuff than it would have been, So it would have been $300 or $400 to get everything to Sudbury, and then getting a rental car. So she took a cab, $180, rented a car there, and then she'll be getting home sometime today. And but the family doesn't need that extra stress right now. We haven't told my mom yet, and my mom's used to hearing from her every night, so we've been telling her that where Brenda is, the cell phone service isn't good. And I'm going to go over to Mom's tomorrow, take her out for supper, and then I'll tell Mom about the accident, and then we'll phone Brenda right away. Brenda's not ready to phone Mom, because she'll just burst into tears, and Mom won't be able to understand what she's saying, and Mom being hard of hearing, it's going to be difficult for her. So anyway, lots going on. I'm going to shut you off, and I'll come back on part 2. So back in a bit.